So if you're wanting to grow players in FC26, especially on career mode, let's kind of show you how you do that. So naturally, if you're on the start, you'll see that you'll get a dev plan. You've obviously got Trent injured there as well, and then a youth tournament. So naturally from here, you want to go into the squads. If you've looked at your training plan, you've looked at all this good stuff, these are going to be the two ones that are going to make sure that everybody is growing in the right way. So if I go into the training plan, you can kind of see will be active by default with no other automated rules is active, but at least one is set. So you've got intense, heavy, light, and recovery. So this is something that you definitely want to be going kind of naturally if you're not bothered about training them individually. If I tap RB, you can see I've got the training plan here. So for instance, if I'm looking at Mbappe, I can go in ahead a light, I can add recovery, and I can go the other way and go with intense, I can go with heavy. So depending on what you're personally looking at. So for instance, if I'm looking more towards the reserves, so say if I'm looking at somebody like Endrick, I know at the minute he's not coming on. So I could potentially put him as an intense training plan, knowing he's got all week to rest. He's not going to come on. And naturally with that, what I do want to say is you want to make sure that when you kind of decide to bring him on, decide to actually put him in the team, that potentially you could change that because there could be a bit of injury at times. So you can naturally see a few people. So for instance, with Dean coming in, maybe we want a little bit more of a heavy plan with him. With Trent, we know that he's got a bit of recovery to obviously aim to greatly in kind of bring him in. We've got heavy on him. Vinny, I'd quite go with a balance. And a lot of these players could be quite good with balance. And then naturally over here, we've got the development plan. So this is great if, for instance, we've got balanced goalkeepers at the moment. Everybody's balanced. But say I want him to be a goalkeeper plus plus, which is the new role format that they've got. I can tap this on and he will start to go towards that. If I go all the way down to, say, Mbappe, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I need you realistically as the advanced forward. That tends to work in Ultimate Team. If you're bringing it across, it's just an example. You can see that we can go ahead and add that to him as well, rather than necessarily the balance. And this is going to be great if you are building your style of play as well, but naturally trying to bring in a few extra players to get a little bit extra on that role. Then obviously you can go with position. Say for instance, Bellingham as a cam, I kind of want him more as a centre mid. He's going to be much better as that box to box. If I tap RB here, we could then go ahead and change him, for instance, to a centre mid, which will take 2 weeks. From there as well, then I can look at him and go, okay, you're going to be my box to box, or you're going to be my playmaker. That's going to be two different roles that I could throw into him. And naturally, that's kind of just where I'm having him as a position. So then kind of where you go from actually bringing in players is by quite literally playing matches with them. It's quite simple to really look at it, but naturally you do have to play with them. You can also apply a plan to a training group if I really want. I can apply it to subs and reserves if I really want as well by tapping Y or triangle, I believe. Then obviously we can go into team management and just have a little sort around to see where I kind of want players to be. And also then kind of who's going to be in the reserves, who's going to be coming up. So for instance, Mendy's on recovery at the moment. So naturally I can kind of put him on a lower duty at the moment. And then we can kind of bring him back into the squad when he's ready as such. So then from there, obviously you've done your training plan, you've kind of gone through all your players, you've done your developmental plan as well, and then the only thing left realistically is to actually play some matches. Because if you do look at the developmental plan, you'll be able to see that some players, naturally with a few match XP, because it's very poor for everybody, because there's just no matches being played, you also then get developmental bonus, as well as then the actual form. So there's loads of things that can increase. So for instance, if I look at Mbappe and he's gone a month of scoring 15 goals. He's scored over a hat-trick a game. He's doing impeccable. His form's going to be incredible. His match XP will be incredible. And then hopefully the developmental boost will be incredible as well, giving him even more chance to get up to that 92. If he was to just follow this form right now, in 36 weeks, he would reach that 92. Now, obviously, if everything was to drop down in bonus, potentially it would drop even more. So you can see some players have a lot longer to go, and some players have a little bit less. So for instance, you've got 75 weeks for Camavinga because he's got no dev bonus, he's got no match XP, he's got no form. 75 weeks, if he gets very poor form, very poor on the dev bonus, it's going to make him a little bit more struggling. So, for instance, if I was to go change him into a deep line playmaker and keep him as that kind of DM, that's going to be personally where I would personally put him and how he's going to train under myself. Then, obviously, again, if I'm looking at him once more, if then we kind of see him there and then we think, okay, well, he needs a training plan as well, we'll put him on kind of a little bit of a heavier plan to go with. He's kind of been on this kind of bench side of stuff. I think he was, where was he? He's here. We can obviously add a little bit more of an intense training for him. Really push him to upgrade him and kind of have him as that solid DM, and then once he gets back into the team, we can throw a solid a lot more on him. And that's pretty much everything you need to know. You will have a few players, as you can see, 214 weeks. He just ain't getting there, realistically, especially if you're not using him. They will just kind of waste away a little bit more. Hence why it's good to get the training plan for your youth players, for players that are not playing, because if they're not getting match XP, they need some training. And that's pretty much everything you need to know. Let me know down below if there's anything else you're struggling with, and I'll catch you all for the next one.